What if I told you there's a vegetable so sweet, so irresistible, that a Roman emperor literally taxed entire regions just to get his hands on it? Not gold, not silver, not spices from the Orient. A root vegetable. And here's the twist. You've probably never tasted it. Most people alive today haven't. It's been systematically erased from existence. But here's what they don't want you to know. This plant still exists. It's hiding in plain sight, and it's 3 times sweeter than anything in your grocery store. This is the story of how the food industry buried the most nutrient-dense root crop in European history, and why a handful of gardeners are now staging a quiet revolution to bring it back. Welcome to Golden Volt Garden, where we unlock the botanical treasures the modern world forgot. Let's talk about what makes this plant so extraordinary. Its scientific name is Sium sisarum, but for 1,000 years, Europeans simply called it skirret. And calling it just another root vegetable is like calling a diamond just another rock. Here's where it gets interesting. Every vegetable you buy at the supermarket, carrots, parsnips, turnips, they're all annuals or biennials. You plant them, you harvest them once, they die, and you start over. It's an endless cycle of labor. Skirret laughs at that system. This plant is a true perennial. You plant it once and it establishes itself like a permanent food vault beneath your feet. Year after year it returns. No replanting, no fussing with seeds. It's the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it crop. But here's where it gets wild. Unlike a carrot that forms one polite taproot, skirret creates something called a fascicle, a cluster of twisted, finger-like roots that spread beneath the soil like hidden treasure. Think of it as nature's version of compound interest. The more years it grows, the more roots it produces. And these aren't just any roots. Because skirret evolved to survive brutal winters, it packs these roots with massive concentrations of natural sugar, not a little sugar, not carrot-level sugar. We're talking up to 15 grams of sugar per 100 grams of root. For context, your average supermarket carrot has less than 5. That's 3 times the sweetness, 3 times the caloric density. And here's the kicker. The colder it gets, the sweeter it becomes. Frost doesn't kill skirret. Frost makes it candy. This is a plant that turns winter into an advantage. Now, you might be thinking, if this plant is so incredible, why have I never heard of it? Great question. Let's rewind. For over 2,000 years, skirret wasn't just popular, it was prestigious. This was the vegetable of emperors, monks, and kings. The Roman emperor Tiberius was so obsessed with skirret that he refused to eat the varieties grown in Italy. He believed they were inferior. Instead, he demanded his personal supply be imported from the cold Rhine Valley in modern-day Germany. Think about that. An emperor controlling one of the largest empires in history, and he's micromanaging his vegetable imports. But it wasn't vanity, it was taste. The colder climate produced sweeter, denser roots. Tiberius knew what he was doing. He even required local populations to pay their taxes in skirret. Not coins, not grain, roots. That's how valuable this plant was. Fast forward to medieval Europe. The Roman Empire has collapsed, but skirret hasn't. It's thriving in monastery gardens across the continent. The monks understood something critical, the hungry gap. Every year between late winter and early spring, there's a terrifying window where stored food runs out and new crops haven't sprouted yet. This is historically when people starved. But skirret, being perennial and frost-resistant, could be dug up from semi-frozen ground in March. It provided a burst of sugar and calories exactly when the pantry was bare. Monks would boil it, stew it, or fry it into sweet fritters. It wasn't just survival food, it was celebration food. It bridged the darkness of winter into the light of spring. For 1,000 years, this plant was royalty. So, what happened? The death of skirret didn't come from disease. It didn't come from pests. It came from something far more sinister, the rise of industrial agriculture. In the 1600s, Dutch plant breeders did something clever. They created a new variety of carrot, bright orange, perfectly straight, and visually stunning. It was bred to honor the Dutch royal family, the House of Orange. But more importantly, it was bred for commerce. This new carrot had a single, uniform taproot. It could be pulled from the ground in one motion, washed in seconds, and stacked neatly in crates. It was the perfect product for the emerging market economy. Skirret, on the other hand, was chaos. Its twisted, clustered roots trapped dirt. They couldn't be mechanically washed. They required human hands to separate and clean. And some of the older roots had a thin, woody core that needed to be removed during cooking. None of this mattered when flavor was king. But once agriculture became about speed, volume, and profit, skirret was doomed. The industrial food system doesn't reward complexity, it rewards uniformity. A crop that demands care, that can't be harvested by a combine or processed by a machine, is a crop that gets abandoned. It doesn't matter how nutritious it is. It doesn't matter how delicious it is. If it doesn't fit the conveyor belt, it disappears. And disappear it did. By the early 1900s, skirret had vanished from seed catalogs. Farmers stopped planting it. Within 2 generations, the emperor's root was forgotten, surviving only in botanical gardens and the fading memories of the elderly. We didn't lose skirret because it was weak. We lost it because it refused to conform. Let's get scientific for a moment, because the numbers here are shocking. A modern grocery store carrot is about 88% water. It contains roughly 10% dry matter. That means for every bite, you're mostly eating water with some vitamins attached. Skirret is built differently. It contains up to 18% dry matter. That's nearly double the actual substance, the minerals, the nutrients, the energy. But it's the sugar content that really exposes the lie we've been sold. The average carrot delivers about 4.7 grams of sugar per 100 grams. Skirret? Between 10 and 15 grams, depending on how hard the frost hits. That's a 3-fold increase in natural sweetness and caloric density. And then there's vitamin C. A carrot gives you a paltry 5.9 milligrams per serving. Skirret delivers over 25 milligrams. That's more than 4 times the antioxidant power. Let me be clear, I'm not saying carrots are bad. I'm saying we settled. We traded a nutritional powerhouse for a convenient orange stick that fits neatly into a plastic bag. And we did it because the system told us to. But here's the good news. You don't have to accept that trade-off. If you're tired of the annual gardening grind, the tilling, the sowing, the thinning, skirret is your escape hatch. This is the ultimate low-maintenance crop. You buy the seed or crown once, you plant it in a corner of your garden, and then you let it do its thing. When you're ready to harvest, you dig up a clump, snap off the fattest roots for your kitchen, and replant the crown. It regrows. It multiplies. It's an infinite food source. You're not depleting your stock. You're managing a living colony. In the kitchen, yes, there's a woody core and older roots, but here's the secret. When you roast skirret, the core either softens or pulls away easily. And the flavor? It's unlike anything modern. Imagine the sweetness of a carrot, but with a nutty, aromatic depth that hints at parsley and parsnip. It tastes sophisticated. It tastes like history. For permaculture designers, skirret is a game changer. It thrives in partial shade under fruit trees, filling a niche where sun-loving vegetables fail. It suppresses weeds, pulls nutrients deep from the soil, and produces calories from space that usually sits empty. This isn't just a crop, it's a strategy. The story of skirret is a wake-up call. It proves that agricultural progress often means sacrificing quality for convenience. We've allowed machines and marketing departments to dictate our diet, narrowing the vast biodiversity of the past down to a handful of crops that fit nicely into a shipping crate. But you can opt out of that system. Growing skirret today is an act of botanical rebellion. It's a rejection of supermarket aesthetics and a reclaiming of flavor.
It's a statement that you're willing to get your hands dirty to taste something an emperor valued more than gold. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need permission to do this. You don't need a farm. You need a patch of dirt, a crown, or some seeds, and the willingness to wait one season. After that, you have a food source that returns every single year, sweeter with every frost, defying the industrial machine. This is what Golden Vault Garden is all about. Unlocking the crops, the knowledge, and the flavors that history forgot, but the soil remembers. If you're ready to grow food that actually means something, hit that subscribe button. We've got more forgotten harvests to uncover, and the best way to fight the system is to grow your own legacy. I'll see you in the garden, where the real gold grows beneath your feet.